As we continued to visit with our legislators about our frustrations about not being able to transform the system into what we consider to be a better system that educated kids rather than just the testing, we talked to several folks, one of them being Matthew Dowd, who wrote the book Applebee's America about how people communicate in this new world. And he convinced us that creating a glossy and taking it to the legislature and saying, here's what we believe, they would just toss it on the floor and it would be among the other trash heap that they had. And so instead what we decided was what we needed to do was go out and just talk to people and get a grassroots movement started to help change the schools. And until we got people involved in understanding what the stakes were, we wouldn't ever make the changes. And so we began to, in fact, we kind of joke, if you make eye contact with one of us, we would just start talking about this transformation process because we believe it so deeply. One of those people that we started talking with was Senator Shapiro. Senator Shapiro at the time, our senator here in this area, and she was the chair of the Senate Education Committee. We had several dinners with her. She was very kind, would listen as we went on and on about what we believed about education and what we ought to be doing with our kids, but were blocked in some cases by what we felt like was too much time taken away by testing. And so over time, in working with her, we felt like that we weren't making any progress in terms of the 1,050 school districts in the state. So we started a different tack, and we said, okay, Senator, let's say the system that you've created here with the other folks at the legislature is a good system for the time. What happens? What's the next generation of that? Who's working on the research and development for the next generation? And of course, as we talk through that, obviously everybody is so locked into the test and making sure their rankings satisfy their community that nobody's out there thinking about what's the next generation. And so she said to us, well, why don't you write a bill like that? And this is prior to the last legislative session in 2011. And so we took her up on that. We wrote the bill 1557. Senate Bill 1557. We went down. Senator Corona in Dallas carried the bill for us in the Senate. Mark Strama, a Democrat out of the Houston area, I believe, carried it in the House. Went down and testified on that bill several different times. We didn't think that would be something we could get passed, but we actually did. And it got passed by both House and the Senate, and it got signed by the governor. And what 1557 allows us to do, it gave us the authority of the Commissioner of Education authority to choose 20 schools with not more than 250,000 kids represented. And it charged those schools with setting up a pilot program to create the next generation standards, assessments, and accountability systems. It stopped short of allowing those schools to go do that work, but it did give us the authority to move forward with creating that pilot program. And so since the last session, we've been working in that process, Coppell ISD being a leader there, and we put together made application to the state. There were about 33 or 5 schools that applied to be part of this consortium to the new commissioner. The commissioner named those schools in October. We were he actually named 23 with just over 200,000 students in there. That pilot group of schools is called the Texas High Performance School Consortium. It was a name Senator Shapiro gave it. I don't like the name because it's really not just high-performing schools. It is a group of people schools that represent the state. So we have large schools represented, we have small. We have schools from wealthy areas, schools from poor areas. We have schools that have a similar demographic makeup to the state of Texas. It really reflects the whole state. And that's what we really wanted when we wrote the bill, because we want a pilot program that, if successful, then we could say it doesn't just work in Coppell or Highland Park, but it also works in Harlingen, McAllen, the other places in the state. So we're excited about that. And what we propose in that bill, what we believe in the premise for writing, we think that if the state will allow us, and we've just submitted our first draft of a waiver, our first draft of report, and it says if we can get out of these things, basically it's the STAR EOC program, calendar, take back some local control on other things. If we can get out of those things and create and begin to work on creating a new system, that if you give us 5 to 6, 7 years outside of your system of testing and worried about ranking, that we will be able, the students in this consortium will be able to outperform the students that are in this one that you're working on that are just worried about test scores. And you can choose any kind of assessment in the end that you want to, but we'll be able to outperform you because we will capture back that time. And we estimate that at being 30 to 40%. The time that we're spending preparing for tests, practicing those tests, giving those tests, capture back that time, and then we will help our teachers to fill that with really creative, engaging lessons that will allow those kids to really take off on their learning and be excited about what they're doing. Now, we're not against accountability. We will have some assessments that we report out along the way. They just won't be every child, every year, every subject reporting out in some sort of accountability system is in what we envision. We have not yet made a decision on exactly what measures we will use in our accountability system, and I'm sure it'll be some sort of a phased-in program, but we're working on that and hope by the end of February that we have some sort of an idea. Working with some really important groups in that process. We're working with ACT and their set of tests from 4th, 8th, 10th, and the ACT tests, and we're also working with SMU to design an evaluation of our pilot program. So it's a real exciting opportunity. I'm the co-chair of the group of 23 schools with Dawson Orr and Highland Park, and we are looking forward to going back down to the legislature as in this session and in the process of writing a bill that then allows us to go on with this and really actually do the work that we say we will do. So.